Welcome, it's Frances here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button below if you would like to help support this channel by subscribing. Also a bell to be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of the lands upon which I am doing this recording. Now, every fortnight, I was starting to release Archangel meditation that I'd written a number of years ago, and it would be the next Archangel scheduled for this week. But because I wanted to release this video on the full moon, the Archangel video will be released next week. So, as I said, we do have a full moon coming up. It will be taking place on whether the 12th or Tuesday, the 13th of May, depending on where you live in the world. Here in Adelaide, South Australia, it will be at 2:25 a.m. on the Tuesday, the 13th of May. It will be in the astrological sign of Scorpio at 22 degrees 12 minutes. And because at the full moon, we have the sun and the moon opposite each other, this means that the sun will be at 22 degrees 12 minutes of Taurus. So if you have a copy of your birth chart or your natal chart, look to see what house Scorpio falls in, because this will indicate or could indicate that something in this area in your life will be brought into your conscious awareness. There's going to have a little bit of light being shown onto it. And as full moons are about endings, completions, transformation of events, this could be where you are needing to either shift your state of consciousness from one area to the next, or even purge, surrender, let something go. Added to this, as the moon rules our emotions and our psyche, it could be rising up something that's emotional for us, making us again very emotional. And with Scorpio being a fixed water sign, this sort of tends to relate to deep-seated emotions coming up as well, but more about that in a moment. What's quite interesting is that Scorpio is ruled by two planets. We have Mars, which is the malefic planet. It's currently in Leo, which is a fire sign, and also Pluto, named after the Roman lord of the underworld, also connected in with riches. And Pluto is in the Aquarius sign. So Scorpio is very intense. It connects us with our psychological depths of who we are. And it encourages these really intense feelings that maybe have been bubbling away under the surface to rise up and come into the light, especially at this full moon, in order for them to be expressed or addressed once and for all. So it could also connect in with old emotional wounds that need processing and ultimately healing. So Scorpio is about activating and transforming these sort of unconscious emotions, our deepest fears, providing almost a deeper understanding too about ourselves, especially at a deeper cellular level. And while this in itself can be extremely uncomfortable, there is a reason for this, and that is that these deeper levels, these deeper truths, tend to present themselves in rather difficult ways according to our conscious egocentric reality. So this is why we need to sort of every now and then do the sort of deep dive. This in turn can also call for a need to allow more processing time for ourselves in order to look at them, and not only our emotional responses, but also looking at what has been triggering them. And then again, sort of do a self-analysis or a deep dive again as to why we are still repeating these same patterns or getting ourselves into similar situations. So at this full moon, this means that there could be some deep-rooted matter that we actually need to face that it's gone to a point where we can no longer sweep it under a carpet. So naturally, there could be like an intense fear or emotion, because it's something that, as I said, had been long repressed. It's been in the shadows for a long time. Yet it's something that we may already have been aware of or even been working on. And at this current full moon, what we'll be having next week, it's going to bring all these emotions to a head. Get it out once and for all. Now, Marty McCord, who's one of the astrologers that I follow, that I sort of like gather some information from, and also which I link their podcast below, she mentions that this sort of self-analysis, this sort of self-dive into this sort of shadowy world may actually have commenced for us around the very first Mars-Pluto opposition, the two ruling planets of Scorpio. And this first opposition took place in early November last year, just prior to the American election. And as I've mentioned, that these are the two planetary rulers. And we are now, or we've just actually had their third and final opposition between Mars and Pluto. And as such, this may have also triggered something, especially something around where you may have felt powerless or even being challenged, something that's needing you to almost do a reassessment, especially of the egocentric ideals, and look at how these ideals are going to sort of play out longer term. And again, as I said, this full moon's bringing all of this into your conscious awareness, almost asking you to face where your power is rising and where it is going. However, in order for us to do that, something needs to die. Not literally. Scorpio energy tends to be connected with a rebirth. So in order to be reborn or to have something reborn, naturally the old needs to die. It needs to be surrendered. We need to let go. It needs to be shredded, completed once and for all. So this moon is sort of reminding us that we're at that turning point. And due to the often intense emotional dive of Scorpio, there is a need to be 100% honest with ourselves, especially around what we are needing to complete in order to properly move forward. And this can be difficult because Scorpio energies can be addictive, making it harder for us to actually let go of something after it dies. However, as Mari reminds us, it is this death that will actually be the catalyst in propelling us forward on the new rebirth. And again, the house where Scorpio is in your birth chart could very well provide some deeper insights as to what is needed to let go of, especially at this really deeper level. There may also be a connection to the seeds that were planted at the new moon in Scorpio. That was back in November. I think it was on the 1st of November, again, just prior to the US election. And maybe these seeds have not come to fruition or have borne the result that was anticipated. So pause again and think, what was happening back in early November for you? What seeds did you plant? And have they come to bear fruit, in particular in the way that you wanted them or you expected them to be at this current point in time? But coming back to the full moon, this sort of Scorpio-Taurus axis of the moon and the sun, this is actually one of finance, in particular hidden finances, hidden money, because Scorpio is also connected with deeply held secrets. And on the other hand, Taurus is connected with wealth and currency and banking. And there's also a sexual sort of energetic to Scorpio. So maybe something that is somewhat underhand in relation to a sexual nature will be coming to light during this full moon. But always keep in mind that one of the planetary rulers, Pluto, the lord of the underworld, is also connected with wealth as well as transformation. So maybe there's a transformative energy in relation to hidden money that's coming up. And with the sun at 22 degrees, 12 minutes of Taurus, this means it's actually going to be approaching an exact conjunction with Uranus, which is at 26 degrees, 59 minutes, so 27 degrees of Taurus. And this exact conjunction is going to be happening about 5 days after this full moon. Now, I have mentioned Uranus a number of times. It is a planet that's connected with surprises, sort of shocking developments, also sort of seismic activity, and it enables very fast moving dynamics to unfold. So this means that revelations that are highlighted or could come into our consciousness, especially during this full moon, could result in changes in your life, almost sort of reverberating at a deeper level, even within your own emotional body, influencing what you are physically doing in your life, sort of shaking you out of your comfort zone. Because here we've got Taurus, which is all the information above ground. It's earth sign. It's about the physical, giving clear messages to where you need to move to next. And that's all the Uranus sort of energy with the direction change. And it can be very sudden. And this is actually going to be the last time that the sun will be conjunct with Uranus in Taurus for the next 84 years. Because as Uranus ingresses or moves into Gemini from July onwards, and as such, there could be brought up a degree of urgency or unpredictability in and of itself of this. But we also have the moon and Uranus working favorably with Saturn. Saturn is at 28 degrees, 58 minutes, so 29 degrees of Pisces, as well as the North Node, which is at 24 degrees, 31 minutes of Pisces. And again, because Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac, there is sort of a hint in the energetics indicating it's time to close out of things in order to move forward, because the North Node is our forward direction. And this is also meaning that the North Node is open to all of this release, surrender to occur. So it might actually be a really good idea to spend some time sort of like just pausing, if you can, with all this Uranian energy buzzing around. Drop into your heart center, into your emotional self, into your deep soul self, and see what's actually waiting to be released in order for, say, your new dreams to properly come together, because Pisces is also about the sort of the dreamscape as well. Pisces is also connecting with the emotions. So again, we've got another double whammy when it's coming to growing emotional understanding in relation to the change that is needed. Also in connection to when the time is right. And as such, with these fixed signs, Taurus is fixed earth, Scorpio is fixed water, it's indicating to us that it's okay, that the timing is right now. Saturn and the North Node are also trining Jupiter, which is at 23 degrees, 47 minutes of Gemini, indicating that there could be some choices to be made. Maybe it's mental and a verbal one, maybe thinking twice before you respond to somebody or something on social media about our communication. One is more sort of reactive on the sort of like normal existence, a normal conscious level, yet the other is from a higher level of consciousness. And with Jupiter also being the traditional ruler of Pisces, again, this seems to be directing us to these Piscean energies. So look to see where Pisces is in your chart, because again, this could be where there is some new wisdom or developments ready to sort of move into your life, or even an opportunity for new adventures to come to the forefront. The Scorpio full moon is often also connected with the Wesak festival, which is held honoring the birth, the enlightenment, and death of Buddha. And coming back to Molly McCord, she indicates that the significance of this is where each one of us is enlightened, especially around what truly matters for us on our spiritual journey, where we are placing our values and what our priorities are. It is also about the changes that we're ready to make and to move through in order to achieve these values. And added to this, throughout May, we are going to have Venus at 8 degrees and 1 minute of Aries in a very positive trine to Mars and Leo at 9 degrees, 11 minutes. And this is sort of indicating the sort of alignment of the masculine and feminine energies, also finding the courage to move forward, move towards what you want, finding the necessary steps in order to move forward to achieve these goals. And I just want to mention something that Pam Gregory talked about in her report, which again is below. She mentioned that this full moon is going to be in a tight T-square with Cheiron, so yeah, Jericho, it's an asteroid. And Jericho is going to sort of be influencing this full moon. It's going to be in a tight T-square at 22 degrees, 7 minutes of Aquarius, where it's going to be staying in Aquarius until 2028. And in mythology, Jericho is said to be the wife of Chiron, who is the wounded healer. She was the one who actually helped him heal. But Jericho is also the shapeshifter, who can morph between being a centaur and also a water nymph. So within astronomy, Jericho is known as the largest asteroid in our solar system, sitting between Saturn and Uranus. And she's also the only asteroid to have rings around her. Discovered in 1997, she's said to have been part of a perfect six-pointed star, along with 4 other planets and the moon, which also connects her with the energy of creation, miracles, divination, protection, and destiny. So known as the soul midwife, who represents this transition between life and death, as well as transitions of consciousness, Jericho relates to the permanent state of stillness. And this ties in with the Wesak festival, because this permanent state of stillness is something that appears in Buddhist teachings. It's this really deep state of bliss. And it's from that really deep state of bliss that Jericho can then heal people around her. So we have more sort of like healing energies, but also needing to let go, to finalize, to move through things. So we can tap into these energies of Jericho, again, coming from our deep heart space. Sort of shifting from the animalistic, sort of egocentric, mundane, reactive self to that higher state of being, which connects us back to Jupiter being in Gemini, about communicating from a higher level of consciousness. So sort of summarizing all of this up, on Monday the 12th or Tuesday the 13th, depending on where you are in the world, we have this full moon at 22 degrees 12 minutes of Scorpio. That could bring up something that has long been buried in our subconscious that needs to be dealt with once and for all in order for us to move forward. There could be a deep healing needed, or we need to surrender, let go of something in order to undergo this deep soul healing. And also when we let go of what's coming up, this is also going to move us along the right sort of soul-aligned trajectory that we are sort of heading in, especially if we connect back to Anahata, our heart center. Just remember, this is where we need to sort of remain that state of bliss, that inner peace, especially as everything's going crazy in the world around us. So then we can project that sense of bliss, healing, peace, clarity out into the world to those around us. And before I go, I just want to mention a few things. If you're in Adelaide, there is a full moon gathering that will happen on Monday evening down at Largs Bay, because I hold them prior to the actual date of the full moon. We will be meeting prior to 7 p.m. So make sure you get there before 7 p.m. because around about 7 p.m. we'll be heading down to the beach. On the 24th of May, there will be a workshop at the Mystical Soul Academy on puppet making. If you want to make your puppets, it's for various reasons. Details can be found on Temple of the Dark Moon's website, which will be listed below. And then on the Sunday, the 27th, we will be exploring a witch's apothecary at Carpe Diem, making traditional herbal charm bags that can be empowered, especially as we have this approaching dark moon coming up. If you want to spend the whole weekend doing herbal stuff, both the poppets on the Saturday and making a herbal charm bag on the Sunday, when you book your tickets, let me know, because I'll give you a discount off. And finally, please check out Pam Gregory and Molly McCord's full moon videos below. If you have any comments, also put them below, because I do go back. And if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing that, because your subscriptions do help my channel work out there, enables me to maybe do some lives, which I'd like to do. And yeah, it's a bit of a deep dive into the soul self. Very interesting stuff at this time of the year. So take care, breathe, and I'll see you again soon. Blessing.